Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video or on the podcast. If you're listening today, we are going to do a dissection or an account of the Vuelta a España 2023. And as always, the man who's been with me for most of the Vuelta a España, Patrick Blake of Audi Cycling on 1/3 of the echelon, is here. Obviously, a tier list. Patrick, what do we do?
We are going to put teams into one of 5 categories based upon their performance in the Vuelta a España.
Patrick, we'll start with Cofidis and stage win with Jesus Herrada, 28th in GC. What do you think of them? They had a really good Tour de France, but can they be happy with this?
I'm leaning towards satisfied
Yes.
because I think a stage win is, or not necessarily what they'd sort of expect, but Herrada's been quite prolific in the Vuelta the last few years. I think that he's sort of a man they rely upon, but they didn't really have a GC placing with like a Guillaume Martin or something because of course he wasn't here. So I think satisfied is a good way for us to start with Cofidis.
Yeah, there's not much more else to say. Good win for Herrada and the team. Jaco Euler, obviously they had Eddie Dunbar, crashed out on the first stage. Not the greatest in terms of points hauls either. In terms of Pro Cycling Stats list, they finished third to last, one top 3, and that was basically it.
It was on that stage which Kemna won. I think Sobrero finished second place or third place on that climb, the one which was neutralised by at like 2Ks to go for the GC riders because of a landslip. I'm going to say were they even here?
Yeah,
they were
a team that's like won this before as well.
They had like 3 riders at the end, but I'm sorry, Jaco, can barely remember you even being in the race.
Unfortunately, this is how the way cycling goes, and a bit cruel. Lidl Trek, obviously, we were very amped up with the new kit in the Tour de France. They had a somewhat good Tour de France here, but Patrick, I can't remember them doing too much in this race, if I'm honest.
I want to say room for improvement because I do remember Edward Turns being in the sprints quite a bit.
Okay, fair enough. But don't you think they should be doing more? Or are we saying that their squad was just
I don't think their squad was.
Yeah.
I don't think the squad was that great. I don't think they were probably expecting too much. They didn't have like a Pedersen or a Ciccone or something to really kind of bolster the squad. So from that perspective, I think I'm going to go for room for improvement given the quality of team that they brought.
Next, we have Lotto Destiny, obviously dropped down to Pro Continental. Andreas Korn taking a stage win on stage 2, pretty much up there for most of the part. We've said this before that Lotto Destiny Pro Continental is a very different beast from the World Tour team we saw last year. But what do you think of the Belgian outfit? Obviously, they were there in this. Well, were they there in this? They were in the breakaways a lot.
Yeah, they're in the breaks a lot. I remember Van Eyckbelt as well was in the breaks.
True.
Quite a bit. He was also up there. So yeah, I think it was Van Eyckbelt and Kron which were really carrying this team. They did get that win. I'm saying definitely satisfied, maybe even very good. Or is that a step too far?
Yeah, I don't know, because it is just the one stage and they are that pseudo World Tour team still. It's not like they lost too many stars.
Yeah. Okay, go satisfied then.
Okay, carrying on, INEOS Grenadiers. Oh, this was another unlucky one because Adamsman crashed, but first De Plus crashed on that first torrential stage, and Geraint Thomas nowhere in GC. In terms of GC, they were 31st, but taking that one stage win with Filippo Ganna, and I mean, Patrick, this is arguably the 3rd best GC team in the world, and obviously they've won every single Grand Tour. So
this could be the underperformance of the Vuelta for me because they got a stage win with Ganna. I don't think they can go in where they even here because they definitely were. So I think room for improvement is the only place they can sit, considering that G was expected for a top 5 finish, expected to do much more.
I completely agree. Next, DSM, obviously, we on the recaps had a few interviews from them, which was very nice. Max Poole, one of your favorites, the Yorkshireman from Scunthorpe, was there. He did very well in his first ever Grand Tour. And obviously, they were the surprise winners on the first stage and taking that red jersey as well for a day. And Romain Bardet was up there as well in the breaks. Yeah, what do you make of this?
And the stage win with Dainese.
Oh, yeah, true. Oh, sorry, Dainese. I always forget about you.
I know, it's kind of, we're such a mixed bag squad, it's almost kind of hard to keep track of it all. I think, honestly, DSM did a very good ride. If you classify the TTT as a win, I think that...
It is a win.
Well, yeah, it is. It is, but it's kind of like a pseudo sort of win because it's like, because the TCT was very sketchy, so teams which probably should have won were hampered. So
What does the history book say? Who was the winner?
they do say, and you know
Exactly.
what? They were very active. Like you say, Bardet and Paul win the breaks. They got that win with Dainese. I do think that, yeah, very good. All satisfied. Whatever. Do you think very good?
Okay, I'll let you have the decider. I put them in very good, but I'm open to both. Definitely not room for improvement. But then if Bardet got a stage win, that wouldn't put them in legendary? Are
I
they
think
like,
for
yeah?
the quality of team which they brought, I think it could be satisfied
Okay, well,
because this isn't a team like unfamiliar to winning. So I think that a stage win isn't necessarily like the biggest bolster.
yeah, fair enough. Moving on to a young team, Groupama-FDJ. Obviously, Lenny Martinez was the big highlight, managing to be in the leaders jersey for a few days. 24th in GC was the highest, top three places as well. What did you think of this squad? They were very active, to be honest.
They were very active. And like you say, Lenny coming into the red jersey was one of the most, I don't know, unifying moments for the whole cycling sphere, I think, throughout the whole race. So I think that it was a satisfying performance, considering that their average age of their squad was like 18, something ridiculous. I don't know. It's not 18, it's like 22 or something. But I think that for the number of debutants that they did very well.
They probably wanted more out of Michael Storer, obviously. He tried to kind of go for the Max's jersey, but Remco.
Yeah, well, there's not much you can do against him.
Next, moving on to Bora-Hansgrohe, they have the two-pronged attack of Vlasov and Altebrooks. And on the final competitive stage, they swapped ranks for 7th and 8th. Vlasov finishing ahead of his younger teammate, and then Lenny Kemner doing what Lenny Kemner does best, taking a stage win. So, yeah, what do you make of Bora? Not too bad, actually.
It's hard to say with Bora because I do have quite high expectations of them now as a team in terms of as a GC outfit. So I'm not sure whether to go satisfied or very good. The stage win does help. 7th and 8th is kind of like a very Bora-esque finishing position, and they're not too unknown to getting a stage win. I feel like this team would have benefited from a sprinter, personally. I'm not sure satisfied. I'm tempted to go with just
But
because it was
it is 2 riders in top 10, though. That's not, yeah, I see what you mean.
Lots of teams did that this year. Some teams got 3 in there.
Some got 3 on the podium.
Yeah.
And like when you say Vlasov as well, this is the guy who's finished 4th in the Giro, 5th in the Tour, and then 7th here is probably not. Altebrooks is, yeah, obviously there was a lot of expectations on his shoulders. So yeah, I think you're right. And then getting Lenny Kemner to take a win as well. So yeah, I agree with your reasoning. We don't have anyone in very good or legendary right now. That will change.
We're keeping it. We're keeping stringent.
But Intermarché, Circus Wanty, and obviously, yeah, they got a stage win with Rui Costa, who's arguably one of the signings of the season. Many people wrote him off, and here we are. He's taking a stage race victory and Vuelta España stage. Yeah, other than that, yeah, what did you think of Intermarché?
Yeah, other than that stage win, there wasn't really that much going on. There wasn't really a GC threat. The sprinting wasn't really there either. They were trying to do it with like Hugo Page or something who didn't really hit the mark. Once again, I think it's satisfied. For a team which hasn't been as they were in 2022, where they were, doing really well, I think that they'd be satisfied with a stage win out of this, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Considering the tour as well, they have, yeah, bad luck for them. But Soudal, quick step. Next, obviously, the Remco Evenepoel show, wearing the leaders jersey, winning 3 or 4 stages? 3 stages along the way, winning the Mountains jersey as well after his off day, and finishing up in the top 15. Yes, I know the aspiration was to try and get him on the podium or win again, but I think it's a very good performance, to be honest, because they really stole the show in that final week. Even on that final stage, he almost took the stage as if Groves hadn't been there, and then he could have come closer to taking the points jersey.
I think you're right. I think they do belong in very good. It was a great bounce back, considering that, yes, they dropped out of GC with Remco, unfortunately, on that Tourmalet stage, but they did manage to kind of reconcile and go again and get something out of the race. So yeah, I was quite impressed with the way that Remco managed to bounce back from that. I think that was a very good. If he was up there in GC, maybe, and he got the same number of stage wins, maybe it would be legendary. But that's all hypotheticals.
That would be almost Eddie Musk like, but we've talked about that a
Literally.
number of times. But UAE Team Emirates next, and I mean, Juan Ayuso, Almeida finishing inside the top 10, Marc Soler doing a very good job as well. They're finishing fourth on the Pro Cycling Stats ranking. One stage win as well with Milano, which was quite unexpected. A very good lead out by them. Obviously, they finished on the podium last year, but like we said that this field was a higher level, so I think it's pretty good going by Juan Ayuso to still finish up here. But yeah, Patrick, what do you think of UAE Team Emirates? Obviously, they're the second best team in the world, or actually best team in the world according to the UCI rankings right now. But yeah, where would you put them?
I'm thinking very good. And like you say, I know they were sort of touted for finishing on the podium. Almeida finishing, what was it, ninth? It's not the best considering that he finished on the podium of the Giro. But that stage win from Milano, I think, gives them very good status. If Milano hadn't have won the stage, I would be contemplating putting them in satisfied because this is a very winning team who win stages in Grand Tours. And of course, they won one in the Tour and then the Giro as well. So, they win stages. So I think that Milano stage win, which is arguably down to the work of Rui Oliveira, I think has put them into very good.
Nevertheless, moving on to Carual, who they had one top three place, which I can't even remember which was.
It was Luis Alwa, the Venezuelan champ.
Oh, shoot. Actually, I do remember now. Yeah, you're right.
It's hard to say because outside of Alwa, I can't really remember anyone on their team.
And they are pro continental, so
They are pro conti. I'm going to go room for improvement.
were they even here? Come on.
No, because Alward was showing himself in the sprints.
Fine. Carual, you need to send Patrick a Christmas card. You just saved your skin. But nevertheless, Alpecin-Deceuninck, obviously they had the fastest man, Caden Groves here, won the final stage as well. They picked up 3 in total, considering the sprinting field, and they had the most dominant sprint train. I feel like they should have won more, but maybe I'm being too harsh.
I can see what you mean. They did come second a handful of times as well.
Points jersey as well, so.
Points jersey too. I think they have to go in very good. There's no way it could be satisfied, but it's not a legendary performance. Sorry, Alpecin. If you unleash Jason Osborne like I told you to, then maybe you could be in legendary, but for that, you got to sit in very good.
Where's Macho Van der Poel? You should have brought him. We wanted to see the rainbow jersey. But nevertheless, AG2R Citroën, obviously they've had success at the Vuelta before.
Were they here?
Yeah, were they here? Who was even on their team?
All I remember was Andrea van Dam came second or third in that stage which Klon won. And that's it. I literally can't remember them doing anything.
Sorry, guys, you're going to be in. Were they even here? Speaking of were they even here, Team Arkéa Samsic ranked second last on the tally here, and they were the ones who managed to lose themselves a position on GC as well. 13th in GC with, was it Christian Rodriguez? World Tour team, though.
Yeah. No. And like, they had Hofstetter here for the sprints. Did you see him?
They had 3 top 10 places, no podium finishes on any stage either.
Were they even here? That's where they have to go. I'm sorry, Arkéa, but
this is what happens when you go up to the World Tour and you don't perform.
It's not good enough, to be honest with you.
EF Education Easy Post next, and one day in the red jersey can, well, courtesy of that strange stage 2 top 3 places as well. What do you think of EF Education Easy Post? Hugh Carthy was here, but
yeah, I really don't think it was that great from EF. But it wasn't even that sort of EF sort of spark that we get, where they're in the breakaways a lot and sort of animating the race, even if it doesn't really come to fruition. It was just sort of very fizzled out, and it was very un-EF. Vandenberg, all I remember is he overcooked that corner on like the stage 3 or something like that. They were definitely here. So they can't be in the bottom tier. So I'm going to go for room for improvement because, it is weird, wasn't it? I can't really even remember who they had, their team. But yeah, they did get that one day in red. So I guess that saves it a tiny bit. But Bissiger wasn't good in the TT either. Weird.
Now coming for the team that is bottom ranked on the Pro Cycling Stats list, did have David de la Cruz hovering inside the top 15, but he didn't start stage 16. Astana, former winners of the Vuelta a España, podiumed here before as well. It's not great, is it? I want to say
It's not.
they're even here. Last
Yeah.
race, Leon Sanchez Grand Tour as well.
I literally can't think of anything notable which really happened. Like you say, David de la Cruz maybe could have kept them in room for improvement if he hung around to the end of a race. But yeah, they have to go in the bottom tier.
Burgos, what do you think here? We had Sanchez up there a few of the stages. He looked quite interesting.
That's true.
Last stage, Sanchez finished third behind Wout Poels and Remco Evenepoel. He finished sixth as well on stage 11. Not bad, but he's a youngster who's really been touted as a hot property now, and he might be leaving Burgos very soon to the World Tour. But what do you think, as they are probably the team with the lowest budget?
My expectations were very low going into this for Burgos because they don't have the highest quality roster. So therefore, them getting just a couple of top 10 places, is that enough to drag them out of where they even here?
Well, four actually in total.
4 in total. Well, if they got 4, I'm going to say room for improvement.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that would be, I think, a bit too harsh to put them in where they even here. Because I think they honestly did a better job than an Arkéa.
Yeah, I think you're right. But staying on the Spanish theme, Movistar, the principal Spanish team, obviously Enric Mas didn't complete his normal theme of finishing second on the podium. 6th overall. Question marks over his form going into this. You flagged that up because he missed the Vuelta a Burgos and suffering from that Tour de France crash. So given those circumstances, how do you think, well, you can't just judge Enric Mas by Movistar by Enric Mas. They also had Loscano in here, who you were very excited about, but the Spanish champion, I only really saw him on that stage 20.
Yeah, I think you are right. There were other people in this team, but I'm basing a lot of this off of Enric Mas because, you know, he is the principal rider. Finishing in 6th place, I think, is a little bit below where I expected him to be. I thought that he would be fighting it out with Ayuso. I'm going to say maybe, I don't know, it's room for improvement or satisfied. I think it can't be very good. They didn't get a stage win. Like Ivan Garcia Cortina didn't really do too much in the sprints. I think they could have done with like an Arambaru or something here. I don't really know. But yeah, Loscano didn't really do anything despite all the hype after his Vuelta Burgos stage win. I don't know. If it was 4th place, I'd say it was definitely satisfied, but it's somewhere in between.
But they finished on the podium so many times, so I feel like this should be a room for improvement. Given, like you said, no stage win to balance the books up. But nevertheless, going to Bahrain victorious, they seem to have a pretty good year. Landissimo kind of happened, 5th overall, stage win as well with Wout Poels, who was absolutely electric as well on Angleroo. Your rider of the Vuelta a España as well over on the Echelon Cycling podcast. Yeah, I'm tempted to go for given like how strong like the Jumbo boys were, I kind of want to say very good for Bahrain because they really took the race to it. And the sniper himself was very strong as well.
The Italian sniper returned. I think you're right. I would love to put them in legendary, but I just don't think we can. They were one of the slight overachievers, I think, in this race. Of course, they also got Boitrago in the top 10 in GC, so that was 2 guys in the top 10, which is very good. But this is all relatively sort of what we'd expect from Bahrain is to be up there in GC, but that stage win from Poels, very strong showing. You know, they were one of the only other teams outside of Jumbo and UAE to actually set pace on a mountain and do something and animate the race, which I really respect. So I think that Bahrain deserve a very good status.
Coming to TotalEnergies, obviously taking a surprise win with Jeffrey Bouchard and also finishing 11th in GC. Pro Continental, did I say satisfied?
I think they could be satisfied. Yeah, that win by Jeffrey Soup was really good, actually.
Did I say Jeffrey Bouchard?
I think you said Jeffrey Bouchard.
Wrong Jeffrey. Sorry, Jeffrey Soup.
Jeffrey
the
Soup.
Best beard in the peloton, I have to say. Yeah,
that was probably one of the most unexpected stage wins of the whole race. I also remember Steph Kras being up there quite like sometimes. I think he
Yeah,
was in the top 10 of the Tourmalet stage, I want to say. So I think that was quite a good performance by Steph Kras as well. So I think Satisfied is a very suitable place for them to go. And then that leaves us with.
the team of the Vuelta España, the 1-2-3 that hasn't been achieved since 1966, winning 5 stages away along the way. Jonas Vingegaard, Roglic, Sepp Kuss all taking stages, and Roglic and Vingegaard taking 2 extra ones. So they had 2, winning the team classification as well. Yeah, this is the most, well, would you say this is more legendary than the 2022 Tour de France, where they had the free classifications and the team classification there, but they only had 1 guy on the podium? Here they have 3.
I think this one is more impressive because of the podium lockout, because of just the unprecedented nature of it. It's so
room for
rare.
room for improvement.
Room for improvement. Were they even here?
Yeah, were they even here? I don't remember seeing Jumbo here.
They were just insane.
But yeah, Patrick, who has been your team of the Vuelta? Well, probably Jumbo. And who has been the worst team of the Vuelta for you as well?
All right. But for the touting up that I gave them, I'll say that Bahrain were my team of the Vuelta. I think that considering that they didn't really, they were always just kind of there on the screen. It was always like, even if it was at the back of the group, there was always like Buitrago being dropped, or it was always Landa at the front. So it felt like they were just everywhere. They were in breakaways a lot too. And then my team, which I think did the worst, there's a few to pick from, isn't there? I will go with, I want to go with Jayco, but I feel like that's a bit harsh because they lost Dunbar. I'm going to go with Arkéa. Just keep slamming it. Just keep slamming them into the ground. I've already gone at them twice. May as well make it 3 times.
You're not on their Christmas list,
No.
Christmas card list. But yeah, obviously I'm going to go for Jumbo-Visma as the team of the Vuelta. One of us had to, and you're kind of their antichrist now. My disappointment of the Vuelta has to be Astana. I know they didn't have a great team, but Astana, like the heritage they have in Grand Tours is just evaporating, and I don't like seeing it. But anyways, that's it for this ranking video, tier list, whatever you want to call it. Make sure to comment down below what you think. We always like hearing. Make sure to comment down below what you think. Who's been your team of the race? Have you been too harsh on some of the teams? And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel here and hit the like button. And of course, as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you around.